Good morning.
I'm hoping Ollie will decide to come sit on that couch so you guys can see him in the background being adorable.
Can we go lay on the
Ollie,
couch?
do you want to go on the couch?
You can be our background.
Go jump up.
You can be our hype man.
Here.
Hey guys, we want to sit down and have a little Q&A with you guys today because sometimes in the midst of living our daily lives, we just show life, and sometimes there's questions you guys have about the backstory or bits and pieces of things that aren't covered in everyday life. So Mary collected a bunch of questions from you guys on her Instagram a while back, and we're slowly kind of working through those in videos here and there. But if you don't follow Mary on Instagram, you probably should. It's at Frey Living. She's pretty great.
And you should follow Peter at
Frey Life.
Frey Life.
All right, first question.
Is that terrible that if I thought about it for a second, I could have come up with your Instagram name, but like I didn't know it offhand. Well, your channel used to be called Frey Life as well.
Yes, but now it's Living with Hope podcast. Yeah.
Okay, first question. When did Peter start coming to appointments with me, and what did that transition look like?
Good question.
Yes, so when I moved to Chicago, he was already in Chicago for school, for college, and I moved there the next year.
We were dating.
Yes, we started dating in high school. I was 15 and then had just turned 16, and he was 17.
So when you came out to Chicago, it was about 2 years into our relationship.
Yes, and previous to that, I don't think you ever visited me when I was in Maryland at the hospital. You never visited or anything. I mean, we were in high school and it was 2 hours away.
Yeah.
So when we moved to Chicago, he would ride the bus with me and take me to my outpatient appointments. He at first would sit in the waiting room while I would go into the appointment. And then eventually, I don't know, a couple months in, you started coming into the appointment with me.
Yeah, I have a fuzzy memory of that transition.
Yeah.
Do you remember any thought process in that?
Not specifically. I think it probably just happened naturally.
I think so. Those Chicago years, we were dating, you know, we lived with roommates in like our respective dorms, and like Mary was learning independent life. Like it was a transition period for you, like
considering my healthcare. You know, I moved to college the week that I turned 18, so 0 to 18 or 0 to 17, whatever, you get it. I was obviously going to doctor's appointments with my parents, and so yeah, when I moved to college, it was like, okay, so now I figure out how to communicate with the doctor completely independently and how to navigate hospital life independently. And of course my parents were willing to come out if I ever needed anything, but I also was like, no, I think I'm okay. I remember some of those hospital stays, I'd be talking to my parents and I'm like, I think I'm okay. I think I'm figuring it out. And they're like, okay, well, you just let us know. We can be there, and just step by step. So
I guess I'm saying that because it was already a transition period for Mary's healthcare, I feel like it was kind of natural that it became a transition period for me to start to learn bits and pieces slowly. I remember the first time riding the bus or the train. I think maybe it was a bus and a train to get to your hospital appointment. I think the first time I went with her, and I remember like it feeling really big, and I just sat in the waiting room, and I don't remember the first time I went to an appointment, or I think I remember the first time I went to the hospital. You were at Northwestern Hospital on IVs, and I would go and visit during the day.
Yeah.
And but I think in some ways it was like our relationship was like our marriage was grounded in.
We weren't married yet.
No, yeah. But I'm saying like it was grounded in a friendship in those years. Like we were friends walking, like learning and growing. And I guess I'm just saying that in those years, it was just a really formative time of me starting to get to know Mary's Healthcare, starting to get to know even the lingo and the process. I think that's a lot of it, knowing like, okay, so you go to CF clinic and then, you know, there's this nurse practitioner who's helping manage everything, and this is the doctor, and these are the questions that the doctor answers, and these are questions that person answers, and like, so in those dating years of our relationship, I was able to like learn. Yeah. And I think I'm really grateful for that there was kind of a slow on-ramp to what could be like like if that transition happened right when we were married, like that would be overwhelming in many ways. But yeah, it was a good learning experience for both of us, and it worked out. Yeah. You moved for transplant and were surprised with Trikafta. What other surprise blessings came with the move? That's a really good question.
I love that question. North Carolina, we love Durham, we love this area. I mean, but to be real, like, we love any area. Yeah.
I think it's kind of in our DNA to make wherever we are home, and to fall in love with the people and the climate and the restaurants and the area. But we do truly love Durham, and it's funny. I mean, there's a ton of blessings. The people who we've gotten connected with, both church friends and neighborhood people. I mean, people we get to see on walks every single day and build relationships with, and the FedEx people, I mean, the list goes on and on. The people at my hospital. I think this question, like what blessings came with that, the move and Trikafta and this new boost of life, it's a reminder that there's blessings all around us if we open our eyes and see them. And I think in this move we were able, like, because Mary's health rebounded with Trikafta, we were able to kind of take a deep breath and take in a lot of simple blessings of this back deck and the birds.
The owl that lives in those woods.
Yeah, and he sat on our tree the other day and it was pretty crazy, but
I didn't get to see him and I am pretty disappointed.
But there's just so many blessings all around us. But I think in the midst of like moving and a pandemic happening in the same year, like I am just kind of mind blown that we were able to form so many deep relationships with people, specifically at our church, and it has been a amazing blessing.
Yeah, huge blessing. Somebody from our small group asked, how does it feel to gain random trivia knowledge weekly? So our Zoom small group that we've been doing through our church, we learn a new trivia question every week.
It's kind of our icebreaker, and there's a random trivia question, and I feel well equipped for meaningless facets of life now.
Well, one of the weeks I came up with a trivia question, and of course it had to do with dairy because I love milk. And so the question was, how many different kinds of cheese does Wisconsin produce? And the answer was 600, which blew my mind. So how does it feel? Mind-blowing. What kind of things do you do with the other 23 hours and 45 minutes of your day?
Oh.
So you guys know that these videos are just a glimpse. It doesn't tell the whole story. It can't possibly touch the whole story, but so we have 23 hours and 45 minutes of other life that you guys don't see. Well, things like we don't film at church, or like when we're on small group, or when we are having a meal with friends. We don't film those sorts of things. So there's a lot of life and relationships, and then also a lot of downtime, vegging out.
My mind goes to two things. One is the in-person, like there's sometimes some overlap between our vlog world and our in-person world, but often it's very separate. And by that I mean, like, we are building relationships with neighbors and friends, like we were talking about before, and those are things that we try to turn off our vlogging world a little bit in those relationships. In like, even like, I think a lot of that is we want to be fully present with the people around us, and we want to be fully present with you guys when we sit down with the camera. And working from home is this, many people have experienced this in 2020, but working from home is this weird blurring of worlds where sometimes you don't know how to turn off the work mindset of, you know, thinking about, well, you know, what's the next clip we're gonna make for the vlog, or what upload and editing do I need to do?
What are we gonna name the vlog?
All the details that go behind the scenes.
Yeah.
And so we try to allow our in-person relationships to be kind of this space in which we share life in unique ways, just like we share life in unique ways on camera, if that makes sense.
We also purposefully we almost never film when we are with friends. One, it feels super awkward. Two, we never know if people want to or don't want to be on camera, and we never want to presume that they want to be. So also, it's part of our like time to turn off that part of our brain and just be. We love filming and sharing. We also love turning that part of our brain off and taking breaks, and that's healthy and good. So a lot of things happen. And then also sleep. The other part of that 23 hours is also sleep.
I think of the other thing I was gonna say, the in-person relationships, and then also the business side of YouTube that takes up a lot of time, and it's kind of like things that aren't, you know, glamorous or exciting or anything, but there's just the details to keep the ball rolling of making these videos every day.
And other times where it just wouldn't be the right minute to turn the camera on, when we're in an intense discussion about some businessy stuff, and it's like details we have to figure out, so it gets a little tense. There's no turning the camera on during that. We just gotta figure it out, send the emails, do the calls,
get it done.
And you know, honestly, it's just part of running this business, and we truly do love doing that. There are definitely some calls or some emails that we don't love doing, but it all goes together. It's part of it. Favorite go-to foods when you're not feeling great? Do you have any for you?
My only thing that I can think of is, like, I'm a seltzer water drinker.
Yeah.
And like, say I'm like just not feeling great, or like my stomach hurts or something, like I grab a seltzer water and sit and drink it.
I go through phases. So one phase was like bean burrito phase. So I would take a flour tortilla, spread refried beans, and sprinkle cheese. Wrap it, microwave it for like 30 seconds or a minute, and just eat that. So hot and squishy, goes down easily. That's not for when your stomach hurts. That's for just like, you don't feel like eating anything. I just go through phases. Like my colored pepper cream cheese thing. That's like I don't have to think about it. If I don't feel well or don't feel like eating, I can usually eat that. Okay, leave it in the comments. I want to hear what your like go-to foods are. If you're not feeling creative with eating or food or hungry or just need to eat something, what is your go-to food? Bean burritos.
That's weird.
Oh, ham and cheese roll-ups when I was little. So take a piece of deli meat, ham, piece of American cheese, roll it up and microwave it. I loved it. I want some right now.
There you go.
Oh, enchiladas. I love enchiladas.
You're listing foods that would make me not feel great.
That's true. That's true. Thank you guys for laughing with us and at us sometimes.
And
as always,
we'll see you tomorrow.
Good night. Hey, Ollie decided to go right where we wanted him. Good night.